guys, welcome back. Today we're doing another dragging video. These videos have kind of taken on a life of their own on this channel. They're some of my most popular videos. I'm so glad I'm not the only person who reads reviews of like luxury store locations and screams like so hard at some people, because some people have no chill and just go off, honey, okay, and drag these brands. It's really cool. All right, so let's start off without further ado. Let's start off with my favorite brand, which is actually Cartier. It's sad to see them get dragged, but this is going to be an interesting one. This is of the Cartier location of the Rue Francois Premier boutique in Paris. It's very close to Georges V. They have a boutique as well in the Champs-Élysées, very close to the Arc de Triomphe. This one, she wrote this review for this location of Rue Francois Premier, okay? It's a very long review, so here we go. It's from 5 months ago. Let me start by saying I'm a Cartier fan. Both my engagement and wedding rings are Cartier. 8 years later, people still comment on how beautiful and sparkling my ring is. I have always loved the jewelry since I was a little girl, and my experiences at many of the stores around the world have been a magical, wonderful experience. They clean my ring every time and offer me a beverage. At the store in Boston, they once let me try on a ring on every finger and make me feel like family while I waited for my ring to be cleaned. Sadly, I couldn't make it to the Flagship Boutique in Paris. However, I did make it to this store. I was sadly disappointed by my experience. The staff was cold and seemed like they wanted to get me out of the store as quickly as possible. When I asked them about ring cleaning, I was laughed at because the person who normally cleans the rings was out for the July holidays. The essay let me know that I should have known that before asking in France. Ouch. I love my rings and I've had too many good Cartier experiences to stop being a customer. That said, if you go to a different Cartier location, if you go to a different Cartier location, I definitely recommend it. This store is not the typical experience. Okay, so first of all, there are a few things. First of all, I posted this on my Instagram a few days ago, and I asked my Instagram Glamazons what they thought. Most of you agreed with me that the client was wrong, but there were about 36% of you said that that Cartier was wrong, and I got like a lot of responses from you guys like directly, like in Instagram DM when you're responding to the story, and a lot of you said that Cartier was wrong because they never know when she's going to like buy something. Obviously, we don't know her profile. Maybe she has purchased a lot of things. Maybe she has bought a lot of things in her home store, which sounds like the boutique in Boston and Massachusetts in the US. But honey, boo-boo, let's educate you, sweetheart, like to this client. Let's get her educated on how things work in Paris. First of all, Paris is a huge tourist city. I believe Paris is the most tourist visited city in Europe. I think it might be one of the top locations in the world in terms of just like tourism. There's so many tourists there. So that means that there are a lot of big spenders who come to Paris internationally to shop. One thing you should know is if you've never shopped in Paris before, there's so many locations of your favorite brands. Maybe in your home store, there's one Cartier. In Paris, they're like more than 3 at least. The flagship Cartier boutique that she's talking about is the Rue de la Paix boutique, which has just been reopened because they were refurbishing it. They also have a boutique on the Champs-Élysées. They have this Rue Francois Premier boutique. They have a boutique at Faubourg. They've got concessions at the department stores. They have a boutique on the Place Vendôme. I mean, baby, Cartier is everywhere, honey. She's a Paris girl. The brand was started in Paris by Louis Cartier himself. Like, it's a Parisian brand. So there are many different boutiques and locations in Paris that you can go and visit. I think that sometimes, like us as clients, we also need to have like realistic expectations of shopping at these brands. This is not your home store, sweetheart. They don't know you. I'm trying, and I know this sounds so harsh, but like they don't care as well, especially if you're not going to buy something. This particular location, when we were in Paris last month, I remember walking past it. This location is giving that old world Parisian glamour. You know when you think of like the old world luxury brands like Fabergé and all these things. Like they had, you know, they're in these big beautiful boulevards and these big beautiful old world ornate opulent buildings. This boutique gives off that vibe, even just from the exterior, walking past it. There are people dressed beautifully, people look so nice, people wearing these stunning coats, people being dropped off by black cars. It's a very old world, opulent, ultra luxury vibe given by this particular location. The Champs-Elysees location doesn't give me that vibe. It's just kind of like, the Champs-Elysees location, but this one has that Cartier vibe, honey. Like, this one has that vibe, okay? So, I personally wouldn't have walked into this location, boo-boo, to get my ring cleaned. Like, I don't know about you, I wouldn't have done that. I think that, and this is what I think, and don't shoot the messages, this is my opinion. I'd love to know what you guys think about this one. I think she wanted that luxury experience without buying anything, and she wanted to be treated as special as other clients who were buying things. That's my kind of view on it. The jewelry brands are different because jewelry, I think, is a very different purchase to fashion. You know, you need to have clothing like regularly, maybe every month depending on your line of work. Maybe every 2 months you need to have new clothing. Like the fashion houses, so like Chanel, Dior, Louis Vuitton, Hermes, Ferragamo, Fendi, Gucci, Versace, like they have a different view because they're fashion houses. They sell clothing, they sell jewelry as well, but they sell clothing, they sell beauty. Where the turnover of those products is faster than jewelry. A lot of people are maybe going to go to Cartier once and never go to Cartier again. There'll be people maybe who shop at Cartier twice a year. There'll be people who shop 3 times a year. People shop maybe 4 times a year. Jewelry is not something that someone's going to be buying necessarily every single week unless they're hardcore jewelry people or they're building a Cartier collection. So I feel like jewelry houses understand that they want you to remember them for your next purchase. Maybe you're gonna buy, maybe you just bought a ring this time, maybe you just bought the love ring. But maybe next year you might have a wedding you're going to, you need to buy a necklace. They want you to come back to Cartier. They want you to come back to Van Cleef and Arpels. You know, they want you to come back to Chaumet. That's how the jewelry houses think. And that's why whenever I hear about reviews from the jewelry brands, they're always so nice to anyone because they never know when that person's going to come back and buy a huge piece. Maybe someone just came in once and bought a love ring, but maybe the next time they'll come and buy a €150,000 high jewelry ring. You don't know that. It could happen. However, okay, you going in there asking about ring cleaning without buying something in that location, the people who've been to Paris who've seen this location, like, boo-boo, girl, bye. I think I've said enough. I would not go into that location unless I was buying something. Even just her buying a love ring or a Justin Plus ring, I feel like even that is fine, because I feel like particularly with jewelry houses, like they're not too fixated on how expensive your piece is, like I said, because they know that they want to give you a great experience so that next time you remember them and you continue to purchase all of your jewelry with them. But she didn't even do that. She walked into this very opulent, ornate boutique, boo-boo, and just said, hello, I'd like to get my ring cleaned. So she thought she was going to be treated the way she was going to be treated in your home store. It's not your home store. You're in Cartier's hometown with a lot of Cartier boutiques. There's a lot of demand. There are a lot of clients. There are a lot of big spenders. Particularly that location, like out of all the locations she chose, girl, honey, you're wrong. I think the client's wrong. I think she wanted a luxury experience without buying anything. She wanted to feel as special as the people who were buying love bracelets, Justin Plus bracelets, the Tank watches, and the Panther de Cartier watches. She wanted to feel as special as them, and she didn't want to buy anything. I must say, even though I haven't been to the inside the Cartier Santon City, the one in Johannesburg yet, that one also has this beautiful, like, it does give off this vibe, honey, like, don't touch me. The Cartier boutique at the Diamond Walk gives off don't touch me vibes. Like, and I think that's what they're going for. They're going for that, like, Parisian old world glamour. And I think that they're executing at a very high level and they're doing it very well. I think this is what she should have done. What she should have done is not gone to the store. She should have gone to the Cartier Concession. I believe they have one at Galerie Lafayette or Printemps. One of the two department stores, they have a concession there. It is very busy. It's absolutely rammed with clients. There are a lot of people there. I think she probably should have gone there, because I feel like in department stores, I've said it before, department stores are fine with even you browsing, because they understand that eventually you'll come back, or someone else will come 2 minutes later and replace you and buy something. So department store SAs are not particularly worried. Whereas, like I said, I personally would not go to a standalone flagship boutique in Paris, with a few exceptions. I was telling people on Instagram this, without picking up an item. The only exceptions to that is like 24, the mothership store for Big H. You could go there like on Friday or Saturday and not buy anything, just walk around, it's fine. They're probably not even going to say hello to you, to be fair. Just look at you and be like, you know, it's very busy. There are lots of tourists, there are lots of people who even go to 24 who are not Hermes shoppers, who don't care about luxury but have heard of Hermes of Paris. I've seen this on TripAdvisor, and go there just to see the famous Hermes of Paris store. So they have a lot of tourists who are not buying, who are just browsing. 24 is fine. The Champs-Élysées, Louis Vuitton, Bobo, you could not walk in there and browse without them being on your back, honey. Okay, because they have a greeter there who's like, bonjour madame, bonjour monsieur, like, what are you looking for today? Girl, big LV, honey, she wants that check. She wants to know what you're buying today. Dior, 30 Avenue Montaigne, I think you could browse, it's fine. On the super busy days, so like Friday, Saturday, they are open on Sunday, I'm pretty sure they are. Those like days, you could browse, I think it's fine. Because just the way that the Dior like flagship is set up. But there are other places, sweetheart, I think it would be very hard to browse without the person on your back. Like the Moschino store is pretty cool, it's a few levels. But you walk in there, they're like, hi, what are you looking for? They want to know what you're buying. Another flagship that is good for browsing is the YSL flagship. We popped in there as well, we had a look around and it was fine. They were like, hello, whatever. And you know, we had a look around, we left, it's fine. So I don't want anyone yelling at me saying, that's not true, you can go to flagships and browse. I didn't say you can't, but I'm saying in most places, they're going to make it very unpleasant for you. A lot of the dragging reviews of the Chanel standalone stores in Paris are very similar. There's like a greeter, there's a queuing system, and they will ask you, what are you looking for? You're gonna tell me you're gonna queue at Big C in Paris for 3 hours, 4 hours so you can look around? Girl, please, okay? There are brands like Chanel and Louis Vuitton that have made it very unpleasant to browse in Paris. Sorry, it's my opinion. And you're not gonna get me to change my opinion. I'm not gonna be bullied out of my opinion, okay? And they have made it very unpleasant to browse. So, I mean, for this particular client, like, boo-boo, I don't know what you expected. This is Cartier's hometown, sweetheart. With these beautiful, stunning buildings that are giving Coco Chanel, honey, in 1950 with a fur coat on her back. They're giving Madame Gabrielle Chanel in a chauffeured car, honey, with her handbag. That's what they're giving. I would not go in there and not pick something up. That's me. So she got dragged. What do you think? Did she deserve it? Yes or no? I'm not going to say she deserved it, but I still think she's wrong. Okay, so there's so many like crazy things about like these dragging locations. Let's now go to the Palo Alto boutique in California in the US for Big H, because anytime I haven't filmed a dragging video for a few weeks, I'm like, girl, like, let me go see what's going on at the Palo Alto boutique in California in America, because I know that it's messy for Big H. Like, Big H is messy in California specifically and at this location. And of course 3 weeks ago, someone wrote, couldn't even check out an item, kept getting ignored on purpose. And an essay made me feel like my purchase wasn't expensive enough to be helped out, so I left after waiting for 20 minutes. I will not come back and I will only purchase online. Yeah, that's that sounds accurate for this location. I think that big H boutiques are actively discouraging people coming to look for something specific. Remember, I've told you, it's not just Paris, this is good for London and New York as well, I think. In any major city or a very competitive location like Palo Alto, I feel like unless you have an SA, if you don't have an SA at that store, and this is my situation for most of the stores I go to, up until very recently when now I've been connecting with SAs and stuff, you shouldn't say what the item is. And I was talking about this on my Instagram stories, like for shopping in Paris and Europe specifically. Like if you're even at Big H, you should get them to show you things so that they continue to show you things, and then you pick out the things that you want. The moment you're like, I would only like to buy the mini Kelly double tour just like this, that essay is like, girl, bye. I'm not going to be able to upsell this person. This person doesn't want to buy any other things. Girl, bye, I'm tired. It's time for me to move on. And that's why we see a lot of people complaining of poor treatment. Big H is wrong for treating this client like that though. The next review is also from the Palo Alto location. I want to give 0 stars, but it has to be at least 1 star. This is the worst Big H boutique I've ever been to. I was looking for something for my wife as a birthday gift, but they locked the front door. Okay, I just waited outside. I waited almost 10 minutes, but I've never had any salespeople or security. I never had any salespeople or security come over to talk to me. I don't know if they're too busy or just short-handed at the moment. But anyway, no one came to the front door and completely ignored me. There are 2 customers left in the store. I could have just popped into the store still. I was ignored. No one talked to me. This is also from a few weeks ago. Again, I think, honestly, if Big H could have their way, I think the Palo Alto location would just be like all locations would be like this store. It's my understanding that the Palo Alto location is appointment only. If you shop if this is your home store, can you confirm if that is still the case? Because the thread on the past forum was giving me that impression that it is just like appointment only. I think if Big H could have their way, the majority of their boutiques would be appointment only, which to me is a huge turn off. I don't like making appointments. I want to shop at my own. I want to go there when I want to go there. I personally really don't like the appointment thing. It's not my preference. I understand why brands like it because then they can forecast their sales for the day, but it's not something which I like. I think it sounds like here, it probably was closed only to people who had an appointment and he didn't have an appointment. Could they have let him in so he could quickly buy something for his wife? Yeah, they could have. Common sense says let that customer in, but the ponytail honey, we know how she is. The next dragging review, everyone's getting dragged today. The next dragging review is from the Chanel boutique at the Takashimaya shopping center in Singapore. This is an awful place. Most staff members immediately say no stock when asked if they have an item. Ding, 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 ding! What have I been telling you guys? At first, I just accepted that the shop is just poorly managed. However, after going there daily to check, I met other staff members who were willing to actually check. And then they do find out they have the stock that I'm after. In fact, I managed to prove that one of the staff members lied to me. He told me there was no stock for a classic flap, but then another SA told me that they had classic flaps on the 9th and 10th of September. How can he be an SA? How can he be called an SA? Maybe SA stands for sales avoider. That's such a good zinger. That's a great line. Sales avoider, that's a great one. Okay, a few things. I've said it before. How many times do I need to tell you? If you don't have an SA at a luxury boutique and you are just popping in, do not tell them you want a specific item that's on your phone or that you know specifically. Don't do it. It turns SAs off like nothing else. I had more success in Paris and Berlin this time around because I would be like, I know what I want. At Moschino, I wanted a swimsuit that was on the website, but I couldn't see it displayed anywhere when we walked in the store. I'm like, I'm looking for swimsuits. Can you show me the ones you have? Instead of saying, I want this swimsuit from the website. Okay? Because I feel like the moment you're like, you want something like that's very specific, and I feel like they feel like you're not going to buy anything else. This is why department stores are very good for people who only want to buy one very specific thing. Like, let's say you want to buy a yellow classic flap that's yellow, and you don't want to buy Chanel ready-to-wear, you don't want to look at anything else from Chanel, you should go to a department store. I think you'll get better service. But I feel like when you go into the freestanding standalone boutiques, and you're like, hello, I'm looking only for this, it just makes the SA want to kind of shut down, because they're like, no, we don't have that, or no, we don't have that anymore. So yeah, I guess you're gonna leave. You know, that's what I realized in December 2021, January 2022, and then when I went back like to Paris this time, I know what I want, but I want them to show me the stock they have, and then I'll cherry pick from the stock they have. And that strategy worked at the Moschino store. He showed me what they had. Okay, they had some swimsuits, they had 42s, they had 44, Italian obviously. Oh, he's like, I have a 46, but it wasn't the one that I liked. I was like, 44 might work for me because obviously the swimsuit will stretch. Versus me being like, do you just have this? And they're going to be like, no, we don't have that. And then they want you to leave because they feel like you're not going to buy anything else, and they feel like you're a waste of time and you're not worth their time. Okay, don't come for me. Don't come for the Pegasus Messenger, okay? Okay, I'm just giving you the tea so that you can have a good shopping experience and have good treatment. Like, no, we don't have that, you know? Whereas if you show interest in seeing other things that you can choose from, I feel like the SA feels like you're going to buy more versus you being like, I only want this. I respect if you are just looking for something very specific, but honestly, I feel like in that case, you should just go to a department store where I feel like the treatment is a bit warmer, just because they have so many tourists go to department stores in all the major capital cities. You know, well, luxury capital cities, before anyone yells at me and says, that's not the capital city of that country. Like the luxury capital shopping cities of the world, like New York, Milan, Rome, you know, London, Paris, like Berlin, and, you know, Tokyo and Sydney, like places like that where there's so many tourists shopping. Like I feel like it's just better when you're like, can you show me what you have? I think that's better. Even at Duo, I did the same thing. I was trying on what they had. I was like, are there other sunglasses that I can see? And she's like, oh, these are the only things that we have. But then she's like, and she could see me trying them on. But also, we're going to have other styles coming in like 2 weeks. There's going to be more. And she like went to find out that information. Versus me being like, this is the one I want that's on my phone. I only want this one. If I can't buy this one, I'm going to leave. They're going to be like, go, get out. Okay? Get out right now. So that is kind of how I see the whole thing. The final dragging review, everyone's getting dragged today, is of the Chanel flagship in New York City. It's on East 57th Street in Manhattan. So 4 months ago, I came to the Chanel flagship boutique in New York, and while checking out, I think she means paying for a bag that I bought, an SA named person, I'm going to say person's name, gave me an extremely unprofessional, rude attitude. I used an international credit card as I'm from out of town, and the card happened to be declined due to the large amount at a foreign location, so it needs to be verified by my bank. I know where this is going. Without giving me any time to confirm with my non-US bank, SA immediately gave me an attitude that was extremely rude and condescending. He looked down on me for not having he was acting like he was looking down on me for not having the money to buy the bag. This SA shouldn't be on the floor serving customers. However, I want to give a shout out to an SA named blah 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 who helped me with my purchase and offered me a drink while there. Okay, so first of all, I just want to say, like, I really empathize with her as an international shopper myself. Like, even before I was going, I went to my bank and was like, oh, I'm going to be making foreign purchases, like, please just make sure, like, you know, my purchases are Gucci and they go through. It's not about the fact that you don't have the money. Obviously she has the money. She bought a Chanel bag, for crying out loud, and she posted a picture of the bag, so obviously her payment went through and it was fine. it's just that sometimes like they are ignorant people working in shops who don't understand that you are from like another country, and yeah, they're gonna put up flags sometimes, and it happens, and it's not a big deal. People's cards get declined all the time because maybe it's a huge transactional amount and they just want to check that it's not fraud and that you're not being scammed. The SA shouldn't have made her feel bad. I empathize with her also being an international shopper in these like big cities as well. Like that is also something which does turn me off. Like if they're like, oh, like the payment didn't go through, like it was declined because it was a large amount by her bank, not that she couldn't pay for it. And then the SA is making her feel like, oh, you can't pay for a Chanel bag. Well, that's not what happened. The payment was declined at first because it was a large amount in a foreign location outside of her country. That's the same for any countries. It would be the same here. And even when I was going to Paris, like my bank was like, oh, okay, I had to go through like some approvals. Like things here are very sensitive with financial services, and they want to make sure that you're not going to go there and get yourself scammed, you know? So like I really empathize with this dragging story. That really must have sucked and must have felt terrible. Oh my gosh, horrible, horrible, horrible behavior. By the way, the Chanel New York flagship is always dragged like so hard. I had my pickings of dragging stories to feature from this location because they're always getting dragged. I'd love to know what you think about this edition of luxury brands getting dragged. That's the name of the playlist. They're all of them are on a playlist, so you can watch all of them on my playlist. You can just find it in the playlist section of my channel pages. Which other brand should we feature? Gucci's been getting herself dragged lately. I think I'll be featuring Gucci more, and Dior. Believe it or not, Dior gets her skull dragged as well, so we'll feature that. And another like dragging video I'll feature in the next few weeks are like French clients clapping back at French brands. Like Big-H has been dragged by her skull by French clients in like other parts of France, but writing reviews in French, so I'll read those ones. I've been reading a few, and Louis Vuitton, honey, and like Louis Vuitton essays like clapping back. It's just so funny. I'm just so glad I'm not the only person who finds all of this stuff so hysterical. I really hope you like this video. Please give it a thumbs up. It really helps to support my channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys on the weekend.